Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Blonde Cafe podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Villanueva, and I'm your 28-year-old millennial gal out here living my best life. And I'm here to help give you the tips, tricks, and tools to live your best life. And today we are chatting all about money, baby. Moolah, that dough, that dinero. What's another word for money? Not sure, but that money. So that paper, there we go. Yeah, we're chatting all about money today. So today's episode is brought to you by also my current goals for 2025 and my intentions, I should say, because in a previous episode I said that I wasn't setting like hardcore goals. But it's all about the top 3 things that I am suggesting that you should do for your finances this year because it's personally helped me. And if you guys have already got this down pat, feel free, skip this episode or just listen in to make sure you're like crossing your T's, dotting your I's, checking it out, seeing what other people are doing. And I by no means am a financial expert. I have a business degree, so that's exciting if that counts for anything. I think it does. But I'm not like a financial analyst. I'm not an accountant. I don't have an economics degree. I don't do any sort of economic research. Nothing like that. I'm just your typical average gal. I work for a PR and marketing firm and I have this podcast and, I've also, worked with multiple streams of income. So coming from entrepreneurship and things like that. But overall, I'm just trying to figure it out. And I think that you're probably in the same boat too. If you listen to this podcast, you're probably, just finding your way along. You're trying to listen to different things. Maybe your parents have given you some tips, maybe your siblings, maybe you've read some books, maybe you've listened to some podcasts about finance. I personally have learned a lot from Deeper Than Money. And if you guys haven't seen that, you got to head over to Instagram. You check her out. She's also, I think she's 28 or 29, and she explains things in very much layman's terms. And she really, really helps millennials understand finances. And you don't have to have this like crazy corporate jargon. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to know about like every stock under the sun. You don't have to know about, all of these different budget tools and the no spend plan. You don't have to do any of that. She really, really explains on how you can meet your goals and just take baby steps to get there. And I've listened to her strategies for a few years now, and it has helped me tenfold. So this is what I want to share with you guys. So the top 3 things that I have done thus far and that I'm encouraging or sharing with you that you could also do in 2025 to upgrade your finances are: number 1, if you have debt, find out what your interest rate is. Guys, seriously, we're vulnerable here. Whiskey, my dog is vulnerable here on the Blonde Cafe podcast. If you guys are listening to this audio, he just popped up in the little video frame and he just wants some love, so here he is. But, anyways, I have been astronomically shocked at the interest rate that I had on one of my credit cards. And this credit card simply stemmed from the almighty COVID pandemic. And if you guys were able to get through the COVID pandemic without any sort of money cuts, any sort of budget cuts, any sort of, not really shaking up your financial situation, I commend you. And I am so glad that you had that opportunity. However, I did not. And so it was a little bit of a tough time financially. And I quite literally have not put hardly anything on that credit card for years now. We are now 5 years past the COVID pandemic and from the start of it, I guess. But I kept getting so bogged down by this damn credit card and I couldn't figure out why. I felt like I was constantly making payments. And I was early on a lot of payments. I was on time for a lot of payments. I wasn't missing payments, but it just felt like I was chipping away at this massive stone that wasn't getting any smaller. And I was so confused. And I'm like, what the heck? And I know that they were charging me interest. I looked at my statement every month and I'm like, this seems like a lot compared to my balance. And what do you know? I had to actually ask the virtual assistant on their website. I had to ask the virtual assistant what the percentage rate was because it wasn't readily available and wasn't readily listed because they don't want you to know. So I found out it was 39%. So essentially, for every dollar that was on that card, I was paying like $1.50, just about $1.40 actually. And that was astounding. And that really that shook me to my core. And I was like, you know what? It makes so much sense because I was just so freaking confused about why I felt like I kept running in place and running in circles. And I figured it out. And so now I have created a strategy to pay it off. I know exactly how much I need to pay it off. I know, what money is going toward the principal balance, what money is going toward the interest. And I'm really putting my best foot forward when it comes to that. So, in a long story short, check your interest rates on your credit cards, on any other sort of debt. If you have student loan debt, a lot of those, unless you have a private lender, I'm not really sure about those, but a lot of those have lower interest rates. So I know for mine personally, they're about 4%. Yours might be a little bit different, but figure out what interest rates you have on your different debt vehicles and figure out your strategy for paying those off. So if you want to start, a lot of times people recommend, and this is my personal strategy, but it's up to you on what you want to do. They recommend starting with the highest interest rate first and or the lowest balance first. So for instance, for mine just so happened to line up that my lowest balance was also my highest interest rate. So that really spelled it out in the sand of what my first goal was going to be. But for you, it might be a little bit different. So figure out if you can pay off that small amount pretty quickly. And then if you want to tackle that big interest rate and take that payment that you were doing to that small amount, double down on the big interest rate one and then move forward, or whatever your comfortability is for paying that off and paying that down, go ahead and do that. Put that into place. Even if you feel like you can only throw an extra $5 toward it a month, it will help. And it will help you just get ahead, because the lower your balance goes, the less your interest rate, the less interest is charged, because it's charging on that overall principal balance that you have. So, long story short, again, check your damn interest rate, because it might shock you like it did me. Second thing is to set up auto transfers. So this also kind of goes hand in hand with that. And this has truly changed my life, because I don't know if you're anything like me, but I'm the type of person that if I look in my bank account and if I'm determining if I can afford something and I see the money is in my bank account, I'm like, oh yeah, shoot, I can afford it. I don't need to make that extra payment on my credit card. I don't need to make, that extra savings payment or whatever you have lined up. And you kind of trick yourself into doing it, because you might not be prioritizing the things that you actually want to prioritize. You might be prioritizing that $7 coffee in the moment, but your main priority might be paying off that 39% interest rate. And also, you can still have your coffee and pay off that interest rate. You might just have to adjust things a little bit. If you normally spend $50 at the grocery store, maybe spend $45, and then you can throw that extra $5. And I'm talking the most minimal numbers here, because I want you to know that no matter what your financial state is, that you can do it. You can start small and it will get better and it will get bigger. You don't have to have this crazy amount of money to reach your goals and pay off your debt and still enjoy your Starbucks and still go on that vacation, that bachelorette trip, or whatever you want to do. You can do it all. You just have to prioritize and figure out what you want to do first, or simultaneously, and set buckets for how much you want to spend in each bucket. And then you can wiggle it around depending on how much you actually spend. You can do it, guys. I promise you. So that's my second thing. Set up auto transfers. Set it up if you want to put it into your savings account. I personally have one that goes into my high yield savings account. So I use Ally Bank. It's a really, really great tool. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a all virtual online bank. I don't think they have any like concrete locations. But I personally love it because it is outside of my normal bank. So when I log into my normal banking app, and I look at my money, even if I see that money sitting in my savings, I know that there's potential that I can still use it. So by using this auto transfer into this online bank, it allows me to not even think about it and not even see it. So if I don't see it, I'm just going off the budget that I have in my regular bank account. I'm not thinking about that extra money. That extra money is like either saving up for something specific, and when that day comes, I'll take it out, or it is in case of emergency, break glass type of situation, and then I can get it out. Or maybe it's sitting there and just growing as like a special like cushion fund that you have. So whatever that reason is that you have that money sitting outside of it, set it up as an auto transfer and pretend like you don't even have it. Like I said, you can start so small. I think there might be a minimum payment actually that you have to do. You have to maybe do like $5 or $10 or $20, something like that. But you can start very, very small and set up that auto transfer, and then you can increase it. If you get to rolling with your money and you're like, hey, I'm balling, I got this, then go on and make it, extra $25 a month, make it an extra $50 a month until you hit your goal. And if you pretend like you don't even have that money in the first place, and if you can't physically see it in your account, you're going to save that much more because you're not even going to think about it. It's literally just auto done. And it can be the smallest to the biggest amount. I promise you that. Not to mention, don't get me started on a high yield savings account. Like I said, head over to Deeper Than Money. She talks about them literally all the time. And it basically grows interest in your favor. So just like how at the last point I talked about the negative interest and how you don't want, the payments to increase because you're gaining interest. For this one, you're actually getting paid by the interest, by the money that you have in that account. So it works essentially in like the reverse opposite effect. So if you guys haven't checked it out, Ally Bank, that's my favorite one. There's a few others too, I think, that people use. I'm not sure the names of them off the top of my head, but check them out. It will be so worth it. I promise. Ally Bank, I'm pretty sure, is FDIC insured. I made sure to look that up, so double check me on that, but I'm like 99.9% sure that it is FDIC insured, which is very, very important, especially when you're doing an all virtual bank. But we're here to keep it short and sweet. I'm giving you the bullet points. I'm giving you the spark notes, and set up your auto transfers. Number 3 is audit your subscriptions. And this was freaking huge for me. I was paying, I think it was like, at one point I was paying like $112 for subscriptions. And you think it's just like a $12 here, $10 here, $5 here, whatever. And I like kept knocking them down one by one. And I was paying like $75 for subscriptions. And then now I've got it down to, I think, literally like $30 for subscriptions. And that includes like my Spotify, that includes this podcasting platform, that includes, what else? There's like one other one I think that I pay for. And here I am telling you to audit your subscriptions, and I can't remember the name of the third one. I know that there's 3. So, it's my Apple iCloud storage. That's what it is. So those are my main 3 that I pay for. And those are the ones that I'm like, not giving up my Spotify premium. I'm sorry. I really love my unlimited podcasting platform access here, so I'm not giving that up. And my Apple iCloud storage is also very important to me because that's memories on my phone. That's, pictures, videos, apps, things like that. So that is also very much worth it to me. But if you were paying for something that you haven't used in like 6 months and you're probably not going to use it, get rid of it. Same thing like Audible. Honestly, I talked about how much I love Audible in my last episode, but I was paying for Audible every single month, but I wasn't listening to books every single month. So essentially, it's better for me financially to just pay for the books ad hoc as I want to listen to them versus paying for it every month and then all of a sudden paying like $15 or $16 every single time for stuff that I'm not even using in the right amount of time. So that was really, really huge for me. I got rid of that one. I had a couple apps that had on like the premium subscription feature that like I used for a little bit and then now I don't really use. So then I got rid of those. I kept the app. I just using it for free versus like the premium version. What else did I have? Oh, same thing goes with Amazon subscriptions. So I had like, you know how like when you order, I don't know, like body lotion, for instance, it'll say like subscribe and save, or like toilet paper. It does it for like pet products. It does it for toothpaste, a lot of like household items, cleaning supplies, things like that you will need to continuously order in some sort of cadence. I had on a lot of subscribe and save orders, and that, once again, it was the same thing where I wasn't using that product enough in that short amount of time. And I was like stacking them up. And I'm like, I have 3 lotions underneath the sink right now that I don't need, that I'm like silly paying for. I got a tongue twister, y'all. That I am paying for every single month and I'm not even using. So that was really huge. Amazon subscriptions, regular subscriptions. If you have, say, Netflix, Hulu, Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, like, I don't even know all of the ones. Pluto TV, that's a thing. I don't even know all of them. But if you have all of those streaming platforms and you only use, say, Netflix and Hulu, get rid of the other ones. And the beauty of it is if you're afraid that you might need it one day, you can sign back up. Chances are your stuff is probably already saved in the device. It's probably already saved in your TV, saved on your iPad, saved on your phone. You can just log back in and resubscribe. And so then you'll know, oh, okay, I actually do want to pay for this, or I actually do value this. So that'll kind of also teach you like your personal habits versus just signing up for something one time because it sounded like a good idea in the moment and you wanted to watch that one show or that one movie that it had, and then you never even have opened that app ever again. So that has been huge. I literally have gotten rid of so many freaking subscriptions. I can't even tell you, like the premium version of a lot of apps too. That was a big one as well. And if you need to look those up, if you have an iPhone, you have to go into your settings. It's kind of like a hop, skip, and a jump to get there. And I think they do that on purpose because obviously they want you to pay the money. But you can Google it. Just Google like how to find your subscriptions on Apple or something along those lines. That's how I did it. And I found it'll list out every single app that you're paying for a subscription. So that can also save you a lot of money. Same thing with your phone bill. Same thing with your like your auto insurance. If you pay that monthly, you can also audit those things and figure out like what you're using in your plan and figure out if you're actually using that or if you can like bump it down a little bit. So those were some of my favorite tips. I'm trying to keep it quick, easy, down and dirty to the point for you guys. I want it to be easy. I want it to be, tangible tips that you can take away and enhance your life for 2025. Because like I said, I'm still here to help give you the tips, tricks, and tools, just like the Millennial Guide, but we're doing it with more of a fun vibe. And this is so you can stop spending money on stuff that doesn't matter to you, or that's like, it mattered to you in 1 millisecond of a moment. And then you're taken away from, maybe you really do want to go get coffee on that Saturday, or maybe you work from home and you love working at coffee shops 3 times a week. So you do want to have money for that. That's personally my jam. I want to set aside budget for that because otherwise I would go stir crazy being in the house the whole time. So figure out what your priorities are, write them down. Your priority is not going to be the same as everybody else's priority. It's not going to be the same as your sisters, your bosses, your brothers, your spouse, your dad, your cat, your whatever. It's not going to be the same as somebody else's. Figure out what's important to you. Audit your finances. You will thank yourself because then you'll be able to use your money for more fun stuff. And who doesn't want to do that, honestly? So really quick to recap, if you have debt, find out what your interest rates are, pay that shit off. It might take you a while, it might take you a year, might take you 2 years, 5 years, however much that is. You will thank yourself if you have a game plan. And you will thank yourself if you are paying for a crazy interest rate that you don't even realize, AKA me. That's what I was doing. And now I have a freaking game plan and I'm so excited about it. It's very, very liberating rather than just feeling like you're spinning on this wheel and not making any progress. So that's number one. Audit your interest rates on any sort of debt that you have, student loans, car, house mortgage. I don't know if you can adjust that. I don't want a house, so don't quote me on that. Credit cards and anything else you got. Second thing, set up auto transfers for savings. So make sure you don't even have it in your bank account. It doesn't even cross your mind. It is in a separate spot that you don't even think you have that money. It's only sitting there for that one goal that you have, or in case of emergency, break ice or whatever you need it for, but you're not factoring in that, it could be, like I said, it could be $100 a month. It could be $10 a month. You're not even factoring that into your budget, and you get to save up for something that you actually want, whether it's a savings, emergency savings, whether it's a, new car fund, whether it's a house fund, whether it's a bachelorette trip fund, anything like that, new shopping spree for a new wardrobe. Pretend like you don't even have it so you can save that money and spend it on something. Maybe it's to pay off your credit card or whatever high interest debt you have. Pretend like you don't even have that money. That's number 2, auto transfers. Ally Bank, do it. It's my favorite one. There might be more. Look them up. Make sure they're legit. Number 3, audit your subscriptions. This goes for your iPhone or your Android. If you're paying for app subscriptions, like premium versions of apps, things like that. If you're paying for like Netflix, Hulu, whatever the heck streaming services exist nowadays, audit those. If you don't use any of those, audit your Amazon subscriptions. If you have that subscribe and save to save 5%, it's not really worth it if you end up with the same damn thing every month and you're not even using it enough every month to enjoy that subscribe and save feature. That honestly, all of those things combined have changed my money game for this year. And I'm getting serious about my money game, y'all. If you are just now joining and you haven't listened to any of our episodes, you'll know, well, I will fill you in, that my husband and I are working on saving up for a new car because ours literally spontaneously burst into flames. We had no freaking idea. There was no warning. There was no signal. There was no nothing. It literally burst into flames as I was driving it by myself. And you can't predict those things. So it's so freaking important to get ahead of your finances so you know what you're doing. You know you have an emergency fund. You know that you can afford that car payment or not. You know that, you can pay off that credit card. You need to have a handle on these things because I am telling you, if you don't, it will come at you fast and furious. And I'm telling you that as a friend, as a lover, as a sister, as anybody that cares about you. It came up on me literally fast and furious. And now, we're figuring it out. We're getting serious about it. And I want to share that with you guys because you guys can do it too. And I don't want your car to have to blow up for you to figure that out. So I hope you guys have a great day and a great week. And I can't wait to talk to you guys soon. Thanks for hanging out with me at the Blonde Cafe podcast.